If you're looking to incorporate AI into your Google Search Console workflows, there are many ways in which you can do so. GSC data, while limited, is the most accurate data that we have in terms of how websites perform on Google's surfaces. As such, it is used a lot daily, and that makes combining it with AI a major candidate for improving your efficiency and your overall SEO work. In this video, I will go over 3 use cases and 3 tools that you can build by combining GSC data with Claude code, a few MCPs, AI, and Python. So let's get into it. So the first use case that we have is creating a simple custom dashboard by using a Google Search Console MCP. So the goal of this tool is to speed up your workflows by getting the data that you want regularly more easily. For example, suppose you are working on multiple clients and have to deal with multiple Google Search Console properties. While working with many properties, you might need to constantly report on how the website is performing. And getting that information for each client, logging into their specific property, selecting the specific filters might take a lot of time. And to that, you can include the time that would take to compile a proper message with all of the right metrics included. This tool helps speed up that process by giving you the information that weekly report, weekly metrics changes in a copy-paste format that you can directly use. So how do we actually build this tool? It's quite simple. So the first thing that you will need is a Google Search Console MCP. And this one by Sugantan Mohandasan is a really good one. I've been using it for multiple weeks and it has been really good and really accurate. What it will do is it will connect to your GSC account, and that will enable you to fetch that data within an LLM of your choice. So basically you will able to query your data in natural language instead of going into the Search Console tool and selecting different filters for the data that you want. Here are a few examples of how you can use this MCP. Once you have it installed, you can simply go into, let's say, Claude, and you can ask it to tell you how your site is performing, and it will present a nice summary just like that. You can also ask it to tell you which one of your pages, if any, are cannibalizing each other. And there are so many other use cases for it. So the first step would be to install this MCP and to connect it with your search properties. Downloading it is very easy. You can simply copy paste this URL or these instructions into your LLM of your choice, and will walk you through each step. You will basically need access to your Search Console API in your Google Cloud account and to the client secrets JSON. Once you have that information, you can basically provide that to Claude and will carry out the other steps by itself. So once you have downloaded the MCP, the next step is selecting your preferred model and your prompt. The prompt will dictate how your dashboard looks. You can keep it as simple as you want, or you can make it very complex. If you don't have a Pro or a Max Claude account, you can ask Claude to make a very simple dashboard. And if you can spend on a Pro Claude account, you can make the dashboard as complex as you want. You can customize it to your liking, add multiple sections such as a cannibalization detector, a low query finder. For my use case, I kept it very simple. I asked it for an update on how the pages have performed in the past week compared to the previous period, what were the main traffic driving pages, locations, and queries. So here's the prompt that Claude created once it was done building the tool. I will give you access to it. You can copy and paste this exact prompt, and that will allow you to build the tool even more quickly. And again, if you want to customize it, if you want to make the tool even more complex, it's really your playground. You have set everything up in Claude, you have your prompt, and once the prompt is done running, you should have a locally hosted tool with a URL similar to this, and the tool should look like this. So here you can see the output once Claude is done running the background analysis. So this is the part that matters for me in my daily SEO work. I can check what the movers were in the last 7 days. I can copy this information and send it to the client. Of course, you can make this section even more complex and thorough. The purpose of this was to just show you how you can create a simple dashboard by using a GSC MCP. This should allow you to speed up some of your workflows. This will be especially helpful if you're working with multiple clients and you need to get this information quickly. The second use case here involves two MCPs, one the GSC MCP and the Ahrefs MCP. You can use both of these to create a simple content refresh auditor tool. This tool can check when provided a given URL if that URL should be refreshed, whether it should be deleted, redirected, or just simply left alone. So again, if you're working with a lot of clients and you need to see quickly if a page should be updated or not, you can create a simple tool like this. You can paste in the URL and the tool will provide a detailed analysis of how the page should be treated. The role of the GSC MCP here is to fetch the actual performance of the page from Google Search Console and its lead query. It will also help check for cannibalization by taking that lead query and seeing if other pages are ranking for it or not. The role of the Ahrefs MCP is to analyze the backlinks that the page has, take the lead query and see what pages are ranking for it, how they are structured, and if there's any gap that can be covered. Just like the GSC MCP, it is really simple to download the Ahrefs MCP, of course provided that you have an Ahrefs account. So if you have an Ahrefs account, it is really simple to download this MCP. Simply take this URL, paste it into Claude Code or your LLM of choice, and again it'll walk you through each step individually. Again, for this, your choice of prompt will matter a lot. I will of course paste this prompt and provide you access, but the goal, the key understanding here is to know what you want. In my case, it is to take GSC data, combine it with Ahrefs to see if a page is a good candidate for refreshing. So again, we have taken a sample URL, we are running this tool, and I'll see you when the output is done. So the output is done. Let's have a look at what it shows. So at the top you have a verdict section where it says if the page should be updated and if it's a prime candidate for an update or not. Now, whether it's a prime candidate or not will depend upon the condition you have outlined in your prompt. So for example, I set a specific date, and if the blog has not been updated since that date, it should be refreshed. If it's not ranking well for its lead query, then again it should be a prime candidate for a refresh. In many other cases, it can benefit from a refresh, but it shouldn't be a priority. And again, that would depend upon the prompt and the specific criteria that you mentioned. So here you would have the decision, the analysis on whether the page should be updated. If so, why? And if not, why not? Alongside some other suggestions. For example, here it says that the page actually ranks pretty well for its main target query, but it doesn't rank that well for a few secondary keywords, and it can help optimizing for those in this situation. It also says that it was not able to find an explicit last updated date, which is a good indicator that we might need to include that for both visitors and for search engines. It shows stats like the status code of the page, when the page was last modified, the page title, Google Search Console performance over the last 90 days. And here we have the data from Ahrefs on backlinks and an analysis of the SERP, what pages are ranking, what are their titles, and what type of pages they are. And finally, we have a simple backlink gap analysis and a cannibalization checker. And again, you can make this tool even more complex if you want by adding more requirements to your prompt. For my use case, this is pretty extensive, but your use case might be different, so feel free to experiment with it as much as you want. So the third tool that we have is slightly different. It doesn't use an MCP. It is actually built mostly using Python. The big advantage of that is the output is no longer probabilistic but is deterministic. In short, this basically means that it doesn't use LLM and probability mechanics in the background, which is why the output that you will get will always be the same. You can try it 100 times and it will always be the same, but if it was AI working in the background, you might get a different response due to probability mechanics. For this tool, you will need an export of how your queries are performing from Google Search Console. You will paste that file and the output should look like this. Here the tool has punched the queries into specific clusters and ranked them based on their impressions. So here you can see that the COSO/framework theories are getting the most number of impressions. So this can be a good place for starting CTR optimization. So how does this tool cluster the various theories? It uses a TF-IDF factorizer in the background. It uses k-means clustering. Of course, you can change that if your knowledge of Python is significantly better than mine, which if it is, wouldn't be a surprise because mine is a bit limited. However, again, this tool is really good for my own workflows. It is very sufficient. And again, here is a prompt that you can simply copy paste into Claude and it will build this tool for you. Again, I will provide access to this. Also, just to quickly go back to this content refresh tool, one way in which you can make this even better is if you can include a section that creates an outline for refreshing the page based on the analysis. For example, you are running your analysis here. You would also like an outline that you can simply send to your writer quickly so that they can get started on refreshing the page. You can add that in your prompt. You can ask your AI tool to include an outline in the final output. And yeah, that would make this tool even more robust. You can make so many other tools by combining AI, MCPs, and Google Search Console data. You can create your own cannibalization checker tool, and you can create a tool that recommends internal links. In terms of using the Ahrefs MCP, there are so many other amazing use cases that you can explore. A fellow SEO, Usman Akram, made a really cool video of the many use cases of Ahrefs MCP that are being underutilized right now. I will provide a link to it. You can explore. You can also get access to all of the prompts and you can utilize those MCPs yourself easily. So while these tools do seem cool, whenever you're working with AI, there is always a high chance of hallucination. So I would suggest spot checking the responses whenever you get a chance. And you might be thinking that if I have to spot check the responses, what is the purpose of automating all of this? Good question. And for me personally, building these tools helps a lot because even though it might take time for me to check the responses, it is still significantly faster than getting that information, combining it into proper sentences, and then sending it to the client. By automating a part of this, I just have to recheck the data and the words, the actual sentences, I don't have to worry about writing them, and that still saves me a considerable amount of time. And for a tool like this, the Content Refresh Auditor tool, this is really helpful because I don't have to juggle between different tools and fetch that information myself. I can get all of this information delivered to me quickly, and then I just have to spot check that, which is much faster than creating this analysis by myself. And in terms of reducing the hallucinations, there are multiple ways in which you can do that. There are a lot of guides out there. One tip that I can give is to use the best model that you have based on your budget. So if you're on a large budget and you don't have to worry about tokens, I always suggest using the strongest model. So for me, since we at Breaking B2B have access to a big plan, I use Opus and so far it has been really great. If I use a lower model such as Haiku or Sonnet, the responses might not have been as good. Also, while the information in these tools might not be perfect, building these tools can help you get a better understanding of how AI works and how MCP connections work in general. And once you start building these easier tools and becoming more comfortable with the knowledge, with the technology, you can then build even more complex tools for more difficult use cases. But I digress. I hope these use cases were helpful. I will include a link to a Google Doc with details of all of the prompts that I use in building these tools. You can copy and paste those prompts and get started immediately on building these on your own end. Thank you and see you next time.